It is Wednesday. We are wizards, and today is Wizmas. It's almost Wizmas. It's the night before Wizmas. It's maybe 3 nights before Wizmas. But before I butcher this intro any longer, I actually have a much better intro that I am going to outsource to the wizard Leaf Dojang, who just posted this to Twitter today. Here's the real intro.
'Twas the night before Christmas, in the depths of the realm. Stinky Bidman was sniping, a knight with gold helm. The East charts were crumpled and thrown on the floor. They said we had bottomed, then we wicked down some more. The babies were tired from working the farms, and goblins slept soundly through their screeching alarms. Loch Ness in her kerchief, Jitsi in his cap, trundled down to the bear cave for a long winter's nap. When all across CT there arose such dark chatter, I tabbed into Brave to see what was the matter. In a new private window, the cult was building with speed, mixing whimsy and focus, all content, no greed. When what to my wondering eyes should appear than the burning of wizards and forging golden gear. The smallest of flames, so lively and bright, grew taller and wider, bringing glow to the night. And a voice called forth from the brilliant beyond, bringing all souls together in unbreakable bond. Now green hats, now brown hats, such a life with the land. Now ghouls, now zombies, how can death be so grand? On red hats, on white hats, pushing power past truth. On mages and alchemists brewing nightcaps of youth. From the top of the blood falls to the depths of the salt. Dash away, stash in the vault.
Channeling in from the Quantum Downs, this is Elf, and joining me is
Dotta
And Bear.
Merry Wizmas, y'all.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you guys. And to the
apparently
cult.
there's like a bingo card for this episode, so I think the three of us need to not look at it.
Yeah.
Otherwise we'll influence the results.
You know what I've noticed? The cult drops like 20 bangers on Wednesday, right before Wizard Wednesday. And I think they've figured out that if they do it right on Wednesday, there's more of a chance that we'll put it on the show. But yeah,
Well, when you have a collaborative legendarium, I guess that's the sort of thing that will happen. Wink, wink. I'm guessing that's on the bingo card.
yeah, exactly. No, there's been so many great things dropped today. This poem that I just played from I think it's pronounced Leaf Dojang. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was in a collab with Tanya Del Rio. Really well done. And then Color Master, you guys, I think everybody just saw the Christmas card that they dropped in collaboration with Tad Major.
Incredible.
I minted mine.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it's so good. Let me talk about the Wizmas cards real quick. So we of course Magic Machine sent one out, and we asked Tanya to illustrate that. Meeple put a Wizmas card in the Meeple box, also illustrated by Tanya. The One Who Rings, I think, is sending out Wizmas cards, and then at the last minute, Color Master from Color Master Studios just dropped one.
So fun.
It's so good. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, please have a look at it. Just the details of this card. They've got probably like 200 wizards and warriors in it. You could stare at this thing for hours. There's stories in every little group of wizards that you look at. And I'll tell you what's fun for me now is like I recognize people by their wizard or warrior. Like I know who is who, like just looking at this card. Um, and yeah, I mean, Jitsi was pointing out in the Magic Machine Discord, like how like we saw like Brady fishing in a little stream. I love like how I'm sitting in the right hand window with like all the darker wizards. Panico's at the head of the table, and then you and Bear and Jitsi are like playing video games in another room.
Where did you find the high-res version of this card? I minted it, but I guess I need to zoom in. I need a zoomy version.
Well, I'm just looking at the one on OpenSea, and then I just use the
yeah.
zoom in feature in the web browser.
Oh, amazing. I love it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, there's so many fun little details. Well done, Color Master and Tad. You know, I also love just the name Color Master Studios. I didn't even know that was a thing until today. But it actually reminds me of one of my favorite words, Technicolor, which is a word reminiscent of early film studios. It's a word I love so much I even put it in the collection. So that's so much fun. Well done, Color Master. Anyway, we've got a.
It really does look like a family portrait, right? It's like, yeah, I see what you're saying now. You look at this and like I don't see just like random heads and bodies. It's like I see particular people. It's like, oh, there's Jitsi, there's Ando, there's Wise Sam, there's Panico. Like there's Two Crows.
It's yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's amazing how recognizable these characters have become. But yeah, we've got a huge show today. Things I want to go over. I want to talk about the Ledger thing that we did recently. We've got some updates from the BlackSand's pony racing. We've got a big handful of cult questions. Dotta's going to do a little segment on DeFi. And then later, I want to talk about probably my favorite thing about the cult. Oh, and then we also have an update.
Me?
No, it's not you, Bear. Oh, but speaking of Bear, another thing. Today is Bear's birthday. Happy birthday, Bear!
Happy birthday to you.
Oh shucks!
You
Thanks,
live
God.
in a zoo.
You live in a bear cave.
Maybe eventually I'll live in a shoe. We'll see. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm not a big birthday guy, but you know, geez, to have it land on Wizard Wednesday, it's pretty nice, and I love everyone here. I love everybody on the team. It's the best thing I've ever been a part of. So happy.
Yep. We Dotta and I say all the time that we would have been lost without you, Bear. We probably would have rugged 7 months ago. So been forced to rug.
Yeah. No, I remember when I first started, they were like, let's just rug these mofos. And I was like, guys, you can't do that.
No, that did not happen.
I'm just kidding. Have some principles. That's not the Bearsnake way. Okay.
I'm joking. Never.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, happy birthday, Bearsnake. And then yeah, finally, or we're actually next. We've got some updates from the Runiverse team, the Runiverse game. And actually, let me invite them up real quick. And while they're coming up, I noticed that the most terrifying warrior in the Runiverse, Belial, has ended up on stage. Belial, is there anything you want to scream at us about? Perfect. Yeah, Belial, please stick around. Your input is always welcome.
Bilal, come out and hang out with me on my birthday. You can sleep over. That wouldn't be weird.
Sounds like you want some nightmares on your birthday.
I know. My children will never be the same.
But yeah, Forgotten Runiverse. Welcome to Wizard Wednesday.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Perfect. Hi, all.
Hello.
Always a pleasure.
Hi.
How's everyone?
We are great. Merry Wizmas.
Nice. So I don't know where you want me to begin. I got some ideas, but I was wondering if I felt like it would be better if we start with having like a conversation about your experience with it, and we can go from there.
Sure. Yeah. I think my first question is, can you give me the exact date and time that the Runiverse game will launch? I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. No.
You don't have to
Yeah.
answer that.
No. Actually, here. Let me reset. So yesterday, a lot of the Magic Machine team played the latest version of the Runiverse game. We just went over a lot of stuff with the Bisonic team. We saw a lot of promising things, a lot of things that still need some work, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we just thought it would be a good idea for you to come on and give us just some general updates.
Okay, so what the team and I wanted to do for like the end of the year is we wanted to push for an alpha build that was playable and that would showcase some of the basic systems in the game,
Yep.
right? And so basically, we pushed for having a build that is the build that you played, and it's like a very early testing build, but I think it showcases like the main core loop of the game, and it gives you a hint of what it's gonna feel like, right? Like the places where we can improve, and like our goal with it was, yeah, to have like basically the Magic Machine team and like early, yeah, like hoping to bring people next year, like wizard holders, right? People that are active in the community, like the people that are more involved with the community to be able to test the game with us and for us, right? And give us feedback. And that was like the key idea for this build. And it's like a build that I think there's something fun with it is that because there's no first time user experience, there's still a lot of player feedback indications that are missing. It might be a little overwhelming at first, but like players as they slowly learn like the little minutia, they start to play. And like I saw that it was, I think it was Wiz that was like level 9 already, and I think that's very promising, right? Like the fact that we had some of the people in the level design team play test like the build is meant for players to go up to level 15, right? And like most of the level design team by the end of last build were already level 15, crafting items, creating things. And I think that's a promising, like a very promising thing about where the game is headed. We feel like the game looks very nice. Like there are a lot of things to improve, but I feel like it gives you like a very good sense of where it's going. And I feel like many people here listening are probably wizard holders, and I'm pretty sure they'll be able to play test some in January, right? What we want to have is like with the early feedback from the Magic Machine team, we want to have like polish a couple of details and then basically have holders and people go into the build again, right? And it's a build that we'll be updating across January because what we want is to have like a very polished version of this early experience first.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. It was definitely a very interesting experience. I mean, I think my favorite thing about it was just the art. The art team is just really just hitting it out of the park with this, especially like the monster designs and the animation. So much fun.
Can we just roll it back? Because I don't even know if we gave like full context. With this alpha build that Tanilo is talking about, we get on the phone yesterday on a big Zoom, and everybody on the team, or most people on the Magic Machine team, get on there, and we get to like walk through, like signing in, creating an account, and then like walking around, not as our own wizards, as like sort of built wizards, but anyway, like the experience of like logging into this game that you all have been working on and that we've been collaborating on was just really cool. And I know that there's still a ways to go, but just like hats off to the entire Bisonic team. This is not, it's not for the faint of heart to like jump in and be like, yeah, the first game we're gonna make is an MMO RPG. Like that is a huge undertaking. So it was just really cool to be able to even have it at the stage it's already at.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let me do like a quick run through of what's in the alpha build and what's not. I think that's nice for the people that are listening. So basically, what we wanted was players to, like the beginning, you can create an account and then you get to create a wizard, right? So how that's going to work is that we're going to have players who are not owners will create their own generic wizard, and owners will be able to create a generic wizard that is connected to their original 10K wizard, right? And so players at any times will be able to cycle between like the in-game look, the traditional character look, and their special 10K wizard character. But we wanted to showcase what it would be like to like a new player entering the game. And after that, what we have is you go into the game, and there's Alberto, which is like a tutorial character who presents you with a lot of tutorials about like the different systems. And the basic systems in this alpha build are gathering. You can go out into the wild and gather materials, and that's going to be expanded upon for plot owners. There's going to be like a lot of interest moving forward for plot owners to understand how gathering works, right? Like how it's going to benefit them and how it's going to benefit the overall game economy. And we have then you have combat. You can go like you can party up with other players. You can go into combat with them. And I think something that's very nice about this is like you, even though it's an alpha build, you still like you already get the feel of an MMO, right? Like you can party up with players, you can play some PvP with other players, you can go into combat with them, you can craft with them, and I feel like it gives us a sense of what it's gonna feel like building community here. And that's what we pushed for, right? Like what we pushed for was having a game that really conveys like the feeling of an MMO from the get-go, from the early builds. And I think what we're very eager for is to see like what the community thinks, right? Like what wizard holders and like the first people who tested, we're working hard on getting additional player feedback so that whenever somebody plays, it's like okay, everything is very clear, the mechanics are very clear, and that's what we're pushing for with the updates of this build.
Amazing. It looks like Zaylasoul maybe has a question. Zay, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's been a while since I've been up here.
Yeah.
Zay.
Hey, I have a question for the Bisonic team. I was wondering, is there any way to sign our wizard or warrior up to be like an NPC to hand out quests or anything like that?
Okay, so this is very interesting. This is the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's what we're aiming for in terms of lore in the game. And it's that we've decided to set up the game, the Runiverse game. It's 1,000 years more, so kind of 1,000 years in the future of like the TV show and like the original story IP, right? And the reason we did this is because we needed some ways to really justify the fact that there are more wizards, that there's more magic, and so like the basics of the lore is that the wizards are returning, and what we want to do is basically there are rifts in the world that are going to open, and these rifts bring stories from the past with them, and so I think what we're aiming for is to using that concept to bring either bring NPCs, right, or bringing a story into the game. Maybe I don't know, somebody wrote in the lore book wrote a very cool story with a cool setting that we can integrate into the game, and that's our plan basically, right? Like our plan is to have a game that like whenever we can brings these stories back. And there's still a lot of uncertainty, so I can't promise like it's going to work exactly like that, right? Because it still depends on how we handle it with the team and how we manage certain things. But like the plan is that whenever these rifts open, like we can bring 10Ks as NPCs, right? We can bring short stories into the game as like a dungeon or a special setting, and that's our plan moving forward, right? Because we cannot integrate everything that's being written because it's simply overwhelming, but we did find a cool way to integrate those stories lore-wise into the whole universe of the game.
Awesome.
Thank you.
If anyone else has any questions, please come up and ask. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say, Tanilo?
No, I think it's more if people wanted to ask questions, like I'm here more like I can give you a little bit more detail on what our plans for the next year are, which I think is very interesting as well. Sure. So basically, our plan for the next year. I won't give out dates because production's gonna kill me, right? And there's always a bit of uncertainty in that regard. But like our plan for next year is that by the end of the year we would have an open beta, right? And the steps before that is we want to release a white paper that basically explains the economy of the game, right? For non-plot owners, for non-NFT owners, for NFT owners, and that like people can get a feel of what we decided from a game design perspective on game economy, right? This is something important to me because when people talk about NFT games economies, I feel like what we didn't want was a system where you were playing because of the NFTs, right? What we wanted was a system where you were playing. It's a fun game and it has NFTs as a premium to like power up player ownership, right? And I think we've come up with like a very clean solution to certain issues that NFT games might have in terms of inner economic flow inside the game. And that white paper we hope is going to answer all or most of the questions, right, and give a very clear picture of what the game is going to be in terms of economic flows. Then we have a community mint, and the idea for this is we want players to be able to hop into supporting the game early. That will give them additional benefits, and that will go hand in hand with like land sales, mintings, right? Because that part of owning plots and building inside the game is very important for us. And then we're aiming for having a closed beta, and that's going to be for all of the 10K owners, people who own warriors, right? Like we want to get the early community involved. Then we go into a large public land mint, and then we go into the open beta. So basically, what we're aiming for that closed beta is like for people to truly experience the world. Like when you guys played the alpha was a very contained experience. What we had was like 3 small player areas and 6 enemy areas, and that was very limited, right? And what we want for that closed beta is like to have players be able to travel around the world, like go from city to city. And we'll try to get as many cities as we can in the game, right? Like we want people to be able to go into the red city, the yellow city, and that's what we're aiming for. At least like those, the blue capital, the red capital, the yellow capital, and hopefully the green capital as well. So you'll be able to travel to those cities and explore the areas around them.
Fantastic. I think the only question I have is, have you built the swimming pool where all the wizards can swim with their hats on? Has that been built yet?
That's coming because it's actually harder than you think because we're doing a web game, right? We have some issues with the rendering of layers, and so it's not as easy as one wishes.
I got you. Water is kind of hard to do. I hear you.
But like, it's actually something that we're aiming for, like being able to go into water, like into shallow water, and then being able to go into tall grass, right? So we're working on that. I can't promise the pool yet, but it's coming.
We cannot release any beta until the pool with wizards is finished. That is essential.
That is like a mandate. Okay, yeah. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Important. I'll keep that in mind. Other things that I want to say about the game. No, I think I want to share some stories that I feel like talk about like there's something that's happened with the team that is very nice and has been very touching, and it's that when the game started, right, we're a team that's across the world, right? Like we have people from, if I'm not mistaken, we have people from Philippines, India, Spain, Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, Colombia, Peru, and the US. And Mexico, I think I forgot Mexico. And it's like, it's a team from across the world, right? And I feel like when you start working on an NFT game, right? Like there's this feeling, oh, I'm doing an NFT game. It's kind of not a real game. Like there's something in the back of your head that says that. And then I feel like what the team had, like the thing that happened was that everyone said like, okay, we're not making an NFT, we're making a cool game with NFT integration, right? And I feel like there was a shift in the way that we were approaching the game and like the expectations for the game, right? Like I think we are making something that's really beautiful. I remember that I asked one of the QA members, like, okay, give me your honest experience with the game, right? And he said, like, when I started, I was like, very meh with the game, right? It was work. It was like, yeah, I have to QA, test this, make sure there are no bugs. But like, as the alpha has progressed, it's like, oh, I really enjoy playing it. Other players, like the other QA members, really like it. We enjoy playing this. There's a QA that was for a while, but he had to leave because he got married, and he's like, I want to play it again. And I feel like that's very indicative of the fact that we have something beautiful on our hands.
That is really interesting. I think that sentiment you just expressed is sort of industry wide right now. It's one of the things that all these blockchain games and metas are grappling with, which is, we have to build a great game first. It's, we don't need to think of this as a quote blockchain game. It needs to be a good game with a blockchain technology underneath. So, I love that the team has sort of come around to that.
Yeah, and to expand a little on that you said, one of the things that from a game design perspective I aimed at was making sure that the economy of the game wasn't built upon crypto, right? And I think that's something that's very important, because it's like the economy of the game is a self-sustained ecosystem that like that has some support for like certain premium things in the blockchain that ensures player ownerships. But the economy of the game is like a sound thing that doesn't depend on NFTs and that doesn't depend on crypto. And what that allows us is to construct a game that is like a fun experience first, right? And then you move on into the next step, right? Which is like, okay, we got the fun game, right? How do we integrate NFTs into this? And it's something that we've talked about in Bisonic a lot. And it's like, how do we make sure that, like that the game is a good experience, right? And I feel like that's been a very important thing for us.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah. Is that about it, Tao, or anything else?
Yeah. No. If anyone wants to ask some questions, has some doubts, like, I think it's always nice to answer community questions.
100%. Yep.
Be able to say like, oh, yeah, what do you feel about this and that? But if there's no questions, then I've got nothing more.
Well, maybe
what's coming next year, because I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Maybe stay on the stage, and people can have the opportunity to come up for the remainder of the show.
Okay.
Yeah. Please stick around. There's Tad.
Anyone but Tad.
That's a good point. Just kidding. Tad, what's up?
Hey, could you guys hear me okay? I'm not on Wi-Fi right now.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, no, we can hear you just fine.
Awesome.
Yep.
Hey,
Clear.
I had a question about the game. I didn't get to play in the early release, and I know you said probably in January we would maybe have an alpha where we could play through. But I was wondering if it would be possible to have some of the art assets loaded up somewhere, like the backgrounds and scenes and things like that. So some of us could start using that in creation and meme making and that kind of stuff.
I love that idea so much.
I love that idea, but I don't know. Like, because it's like, here's where the things with like, I need to talk to marketing and stuff, right? Because I have to make sure that I don't screw up by saying something that's not right.
Well, why don't we say we'll get back to you, Ted? How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I accept it. That's fine. Just putting the bug in your ear that I think grab a lot of people in the cult that are already making things, and we could just start doing crossovers straight away.
Yeah, and let me what Bear said, right?
Sounds good. Matto, did you have something?
Oh no, I was coming up because I was reading through the Discord, see if there's any questions that needs to be answered from there. But there's nothing I can see straight up. If anybody has any questions that they feel like they need, you can feel free to ping me. I think I didn't miss any. But
yeah, Matto is actually a really good resource for game questions as well.
Yeah.
And then Young, did you have a question?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say it's awesome that you're waiting, to figure out all the aspects of the game. I also have to give an honorary scree out, it's very important. So like, I mean, obviously it's kind of vague and stuff, but like, so what exactly is the connection between the Forgotten Realms and the battle for Goblintown? Are they like at war with each other or something?
No, these games are not really connected at all. I mean, to the extent that they are, like the Runiverse game will have probably, I might be speaking out of turn, but Goblintown will be in it. And when I say Goblintown, I mean like the quote fictional world of Goblintown. But the Goblintown game that Magic Machine is building is an entirely separate game, not connected to the Runiverse game.
Yeah, so you can think of like the Goblintown game that we're doing is more like limited kind of on-chain crypto board game. So it's a lot like sort of like Settlers of Catan meets Wolf game, right? So it's this like very like crypto native, like very much like play to earn, almost like a board game, like a degen game that will launch probably in January, late January. That, you know, like these games do, it'll have kind of its like realm of influence. Whereas the Runiverse game is a totally separate game. So the Runiverse game is going to be this like much larger MMO RPG that has both like all of the, you know, wizards in it as playable characters, but then as well as like other people who can come and, you know, you develop your character and harvest resources and craft structures on your property and battle monsters, that sort of thing. So it's more of like, I don't want to say traditional, but it's like more of a traditional like video game with crypto backed ownership. Whereas the Goblintown game is more of like a PvP board game.
All right, that's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah,
sure.
And to add to that, well, when I was saying that, like the game, like the Runiverse MMO takes place 1,000 years into the future, I feel like you'll probably see nods and references to the Battle of Goblintown, but like it's so far apart in terms of like the chronology of the game that what it would be like nods and stuff like that.
That's epic.
Zay, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I'm super conflicted. Would it be wiser to would it be better to buy the ledger and receive the airdrop, or just spend 0.123 ETH on in-game resources?
Oh, well, are you talking about the ledger thing that we just released with the Sacred Keymaster?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Man, I'm so conflicted.
Okay. Well, yeah. Listen, this is a good pivot. Let's pivot into this because I want to talk about the ledger thing we just did. I don't know if this will help you answer your question, Zay, but let's jump into it. So, first of all, this is a collaboration that Bearsnake opened up for us. He is the wizard who opens doors, and he just sort of brought this to us out of nowhere one day, which I think is very exciting. The only other NFT project I've seen who's collabed with Ledger currently is Deadfellas. I don't know, Bear. Is there any other NFT projects that have done this?
Jen Stark, who's more of like a one of one, although she's done some Gen art. So Jen Stark has done something, but like from like a PFP standpoint, no, it's like it's us and Deadfellas.
Great, yeah. So like, you know, I mean, we thought this was fun, a really fun way to just sort of get Forgotten Runes out there, to expand the brand, to build out the franchise. And you know, the first question when this project opened up was, okay, what are we going to put on the ledger? What kind of artwork are we going to put on there? And we threw around a lot of ideas, and I really wanted to put the Keymaster on there. And let me break down why. So first of all, what is a ledger? It is it's a crypto key. It's a sacred key, in fact. And as we all know, the Sacred Keymaster is one who holds a sacred key. Secondly, there is some really fun sort of motif iconography happening right here. So you think about what cryptocurrency is. It's it's an alternative to fiat currency. What's the fiat currency that most of us, and in fact the world, interacts with the most? The US dollar. What is on the US dollar? The Eye of Providence. The fucking Keymaster is actually sitting on the US dollar. And so I wanted to put the Keymaster on this Ledger Sacred Key. There's just a really great quantum synchronicity there. And then finally, I've been observing the crypto community for years, and one feature that I see a lot is that, for better or for worse, the crypto community is kind of conspiracy minded, for better or for worse. And a lot of conspiracies come back to the Illuminati, that symbol, the Eye of Providence, the eye on the pyramid. Um, and one thing that Bear really said was important about this ledger key is that it should appeal to people who are not in the cult. It should go beyond the cult. If you come to the ledger website and you see it and you don't know what Forgotten Runes is, you still want to buy it. So, I was just trying to appeal to that sort of like conspiracy minded feature of the crypto community at large. And so, of course, the Sacred Keymaster speaks to that. And so those were the three reasons I really wanted to put him on there. But yeah, I think the artwork turned out really awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, did you already mention that Riley Brown did the illustration of the Keymaster?
I did not. So yeah, Riley Brown, the guy who is illustrating our comic, as if he wasn't a bit too busy already, he was gracious enough to fit this illustration in. Yeah, I think it just turned out great.
And I just said it in the tower, but I just love like the connection that you made, like the reasoning behind why we chose the Keymaster. I just think it makes a ton of sense, and I think you got to add some of that copy onto the microsite, right? On their on the Mint page.
Yep. I didn't want to explain it all too on the nose, but I definitely wanted to draw the connection between the crypto key and the sacred key.
Yeah.
But,
lastly, just to answer Zay's question, sorry, Elf.
yeah.
Just to answer your question directly, as best as possible. I think the answer and Dotta, maybe you can chime in a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to we don't know what like the math is behind like the resources that get airdropped when you purchase the ledger, and sort of and how to compare it. Is that fair to say, Dotta, at this exact moment?
Yeah, exactly. I think one, we haven't calculated the scale of the airdrops in general. We'll have to balance that with the whole economy when we do the game, right? I mean, I think one of the things with the airdrop that you're always balancing is like people who are here and involved want to feel kind of like rewarded for their holdings, while at the same time, a really important thing for this game to work for everyone and even to make those holdings like more useful is for other people outside of just like the 100 of us that are here to play this game. And so if you airdrop too much and everybody thinks like, oh, I'm way too behind, I'm like not even going to play, so it's always, you're always kind of like playing that balance. I would think that if you are a wizard holder already, I wouldn't, well, the other unknown is really just like I'm not really thinking much at all about how the marketplace is going to kind of value these tokens, right? Like, really, this Goblintown game is just something fun that I've wanted to build for forever. So, like, I'm not like, how do you say like, oh, is the 0.123 ETH for the ledger worth it for the airdrop? And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know what the market's gonna like value kind of Goblintown tokens at. I'm not like trying to engineer anything there. So I guess what I would say is like, if you're a wizard holder already, I wouldn't buy the ledger just for the Goblintown airdrop, insofar as like you're already going to get one by nature of being a holder. So yeah, but the ledger's freaking cool, and they're only going to be limited edition. So I think you should buy it if you want a ledger with the Keymaster on it.
Yeah, and so the ledger thing was part of our Wizmas sort of event. But I also wanted to mention we actually have another Wizmas treat in the works. We have invited a special guest to dress up as the Saint of Wizmas, but he's being very stubborn at the moment. Stubborn, maybe a bit clumsy, maybe even a bit gigas. But soon you will be able to get your last minute Wizmas wishes in. And so we are hoping to release this either tomorrow or the next day, just depending on how strong we can be with this particular person. So yeah, I guess that's all I can really say right now about this last minute Wizmas treat. Unless Dotta or Bear, you have anything to say?
It's gonna be fun. There's no token. It's just for fun.
It's just for fun.
And make sure that you know what to ask for.
Yes.
Because you know, there will be responses to your requests.
Yeah. So okay. I also want to give some quick updates on BlackSand's pony racing, everyone's favorite favorite horse racing event in the Runiverse. And so I talked with Legatus today. Oh, sorry, Dotta, did you want to say something?
No. You know, just yeah. When you go to Wizmas, be ready for a sack of presents.
Wait, really? I thought.
No, sorry, it's just a bulge joke. It's Matazuki's bulge joke.
Oh, are you responding to things in the secret tower?
Yeah, exactly. I've always got the Discord up.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not paying attention to the secret tower at all.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, BlackSand's pony racing. We have some very important events, Dotta. You need to listen. Okay.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
listening.
So first of all, I just want to give a big shout out to Munchkin the Tactical, owned by Matt D. Recker. Munchkin is currently in first place. Munchkin looking real good. However, Munchkin is quickly followed by Queenie the Extraordinary, owned by Mala. And then currently in third place, we have Jellybean the Brave, owned by VMark. I learned that a fun new strategy in BlackSands is you can earn points by playing Give a Hoot's Runes TCG card game. This was a brand new strategy introduced in the Ether Cup. I also wanted to say that registration is currently open for the next race, which will start on January 4th. But the current race is still happening. And finally, probably the most important metric that I need to mention is that my own pony, Will-O-the-Wisp the Marvelous, is in 28th place. Now, that may not sound very impressive, but you must consider that Dota's pony, Josh the Blind, is in 51st place.
He's blind. He's blind.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if that's a real good excuse.
Somebody punched him. I couldn't believe it.
All I have to say is y'all are lucky I haven't entered those races yet.
Dotta is always going to enter his blind pony just so he has an excuse.
I feel like we need to have separate races for ponies that maybe don't have a bit of a handicap.
I
think I'm
You've only got 3 legs.
Yeah.
I stopped in the middle of my sentence because I realized I was going into woke
say
territory.
Something un-PC.
Yeah. This is being recorded.
That's okay. But yeah, so I just wanted to give the updates for the BlackSands. That's the latest. Congratulations to Munchkin the Tactical. You're doing really well. Very impressive. Josh, we do live in a magical universe. I'm sure there's a cure for your blindness somewhere. But yeah, and then also I just wanted to drop some really valuable alpha real quick. In addition to playing the latest version of the Runiverse game, our team was treated to another game. I won't say what, but what I will say is go follow the Twitter account Loxley's Oracle. This is some of the best alpha I can give right now. Highly recommended. Loxley's Oracle. Some really magical things happening over there. Some really mind-blowing things, to be honest. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say for now. We'll talk more about that in future Wizard Wednesdays. Okay, and then next, I want to go over some cult questions. Man, time went by today real fast. We only have 15 minutes, so let me try to rapid fire these. Nard is asking, Elf, when shout out on the channels and the Discord, familiars and pets, music and food. Nard, so I think the only reason you're asking this is because your dog Soda is like the unofficial mascot familiar of the entire Runiverse. I mean, everybody at this point pretty much knows who Soda is. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but as far as other shout outs, you know, I know that another reason you may be asked is to try to get me to mention the most disgusting food in the Runiverse, because I believe this is a one of the bingo card things. I'm not gonna say it. I'm just not. I mean, Baron Dotta, you guys can say it, but I ain't gonna say it.
No. I'm good.
So
Wait, not gonna say what?
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
I'll give you a hint. You don't want to drink the juice.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, not.
I just have a question. Is Bulge on the list? I hope Bulge was on the
Well,
list.
if it is, you just
I don't
said
think
it.
so.
Okay, and then
Bulge.
Slim is asking, why does a person not drown when they breathe in steam?
You do.
Do you? Please explain.
Yeah.
What?
Well, yeah, like if it's well, maybe actually I don't know what you have to define drowning. Okay, so you know how they just found that cave that has like the really, really big crystals, right? They're like 50-foot crystals, like thicker than a human, right? Have you
I
seen
have
this?
not.
It's like in Mexico.
What? What?
It's
Links,
incredible.
please.
They found this cave where there's like, okay, imagine like a crystal, but like it's like a bridge. Like you walk across it like a bridge, but it's just like this massive crystal. And the problem is that it's so hot down there and so steamy that when you breathe it in, you will die. I don't know if you call that drowning, right? Maybe you just die because it's too hot.
Or
But
maybe there's like poisonous
Yes.
elements in
Thank
the
you.
air.
Thank you, Cosmic Nightjar.
Yeah.
Right, maybe it's poison, but there is this new cave with like the most incredible crystals, and you have to wear like a cooling suit because otherwise you'll breathe in the steam and you'll drown. So
that makes me think. This is a tangent. This makes me think of how you read how they like all these like 1,000-year-old, million-year-old viruses are like trapped in the polar caps, and like as the ice melts, it's all sort of coming. And then like to make it worse, you have like scientists like grabbing them and like bringing them into labs. It's not good. I'd rather go die in the crystal den than get a ice age mammoth virus.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Bear. That was really uplifting for Wizmas.
I'm just
either.
I'm just trying to make everybody realize how good we have it.
How important it is to build a new world, because this one's dead.
Exactly.
Okay, speaking of New World, V-Mark is asking, today is the winter solstice. How do wizards spend it in the Runiverse? AKA, what kinds of holidays are there? Really fun question. Deserves about 30 minutes of explanation, but real quick, so far we know that Halloween is definitely a holiday in the Runiverse. We know that Wizmas is a holiday in the Runiverse. But to give a more comprehensive answer in about 20 seconds, again, the Runiverse is a reflection of the real world. The real world has countless holidays and countless cultures all over the world. And I imagine the Runiverse is very much the same way. If I could go just a little bit deeper, in the real world, we have Christmas in certain countries, but even Christmas, the origins of Christmas are very much in debate. It's expressed in many different ways all over the world, and I think that's what's so beautiful about it and all other holidays is just every culture has a different take on every holiday, and the Runiverse does as well. Emma is asking, are you planning anything big for next year in terms of lore? Not necessarily more collections, could be anything. Yeah, I mean, the show is certainly making a lot of progress. The comic is as well. One big thing that I really want to do is start making more YouTube videos. In fact, we've got a little one coming out soon. and I actually want to make a video component to, well, okay, Meeple Dad, I'm sure you guys all saw, he compiled all the hat lore into one sound clip. I want to add a video component to that. So long story short, I want to do more videos that sort of explain more lore. So that is something you can look forward to. I don't know, Dotta Bear, do you guys want to say anything to that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think making lore is what we're gonna do
I
all
don't
the
think
time.
so.
Yep.
Do you want to?
It's my birthday. I
well,
don't have to answer any questions.
yeah, and I don't think that we have any more like updates on the show versus last week, other than just like still making progress.
Yeah, I mean, as far as that goes, I'll tell you this: all of the entertainment industry shuts down at this time, and it's impossible to move anything. So yeah, it might be a few more weeks before that ramps back up.
I actually missed the question. I'm sorry, because you guys cut out. What was the actual question that Emma had about
It was
entertainment?
just like anything big in terms of lore for the next year.
Hello?
Oh, that's Zay, I think. Let's mute him.
What's going on? Hello?
Bear.
Did we get rough?
There, it's your
He's
problem.
falling into that crystal cave.
Chaos in the bear cave. I'm just gonna move on. Smolprotecc. Smolprotecc asked a really spicy question. It's not really that spicy, but it's one that I would love to spend 20 more minutes on. He says,
let's
"Why
do it.
is the
Fine.
Yeah?" He says, "Why is the devil represented by the goat?" Super fun question. Let me just spend a few minutes on that. So. Let me rewind a bit. Night Owl Birdman was asking me to write some lore for my Wiz like a month or two ago, and it's a thing that I want to do the most. I want to develop my character so bad, but I'm busy running Magic Machine. But let me just give a quick description or speak to this just real quick. So the black goat is a very powerful symbol for me. He sort of represents a disruptive figure. It's sort of an archetype that disrupts the status quo. And when you bring a paradigm shift, when you disrupt, the old order is very quick to demonize that figure. The old order or the establishment does not want change, and why would they? Because they are currently sitting at the top of the current order, the current power structure. They do not want these black goats to lead the youth astray, to sort of shed the trappings of oppression, to escape the flock and dance naked in the woods. This to them is evil. You think about the feudal lords of the medieval times and how they sort of want the youth shackled to indentured servitude, like their parents, and they want they want to instill fear of this new world that is possible. And so all I'm saying is that all of us, can build this new world. We can build it together. And so all I'm saying is join the black goat and I'll teach you some magic tricks in the woods. So that's my short answer. Maybe I'll expand on that in a future Wizard Wednesday.
Yeah, I think that like I have thoughts here.
Oh, amazing.
I think that like I would guess one of the things that solidified the idea of the devil being associated with the goat would be like Milton's Paradise Lost. I don't actually know. It'd be interesting to look up like how much earlier kind of like artistic representations of sort of the devil having horns is represented in that way. Like for example, I don't think that I could be wrong, but I don't think that the Bible, for example, describes the devil
It
as
does
having
not.
horns, and so that would, yeah, and so that would be something that is like extra biblical, if we want to call it that. And I think that the idea of how maybe goats get associated with kind of like sacrifice, well, that seems like somewhat straightforward insofar as if you think of the idea of sacrifice a bit more deeply, is kind of this idea that we sort of know that you can like negotiate with reality by by trading off something that you would want today for a better future, right? That's like still something that we believe in, is this idea that you can kind of like, that's almost like the foundation of discipline, is that like I'm going to, I'm not going to eat that food that I know is unhealthy. I'm like not going to spend that money because I know might need something later, right? And it's this idea that like I'm going to like sacrifice something for with like I'm negotiating with the creator, basically, right? And so you can sort of see how this idea of like livestock, of course, get associated with sacrifice, and gets negotiating with these like higher deities. But the question is still remains, which is like, okay, yeah, but why is the devil a sheep and a goat and not a sheep? And I think, well, I think that's really interesting. How do you pronounce it? Ba- Bahamut?
Baphomet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, so that's like a very old depiction of kind of darkness. So
Dotta, I
magic.
I
Yeah,
freaking love that you're engaging in this. I didn't know you would have input on this. Yeah, I could go
yeah,
super deep on this. There's also like this history of a lot, like the Greek god Pan was depicted as a goat, but then when Emperor
right.
Constantine wanted to sort of evangelize Christianity across the Roman Empire, they took a lot of those pagan symbols and adapted them, repurposed them and appropriated them, and the goat became sort of the symbol of the Satan. Like there's a whole history behind this. But yeah, I don't know. I could go really deep. But Smolprotecc, thanks for a really fun question. Maybe we'll dive more in later. Um,
Yeah.
and then Give a Hoot had a great question. What is one of the places, themes, or stories in the Runiverse that you're most excited to share? Give a Hoot. I could put 20 minutes into this. Let me punt that to another Wizard Wednesday. Ask again next Wizard Wednesday. And then Wild Mage is asking, is there any significance to the number 160 in the Runiverse? Wild Mage, I can't think of any. If you're referencing something specific, let me know. But I can't think of anything right now. But we have only like 5 minutes left, and I really want to hit this final piece. Unless Dotta or Bear, you guys have anything you want to hit on?
No, I really want. We'll skip Dota's DeFi. We'll hit it next week. I want to hear one of your favorite things about the.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the most magical things about the cult.
Is it Cucum
Oh,
Dogs?
damn you!
Oh, you know that was on. You know that was a hot topic word too.
You worked
Crowd
that in
pleaser.
perfectly.
You're a little cheater. What a little cheater.
Yeah, perfect, Dotta. No, it is not freaking Cucum Dogs. Now I can say it because it's already been said. No, I'm trying to say something serious here, damn it. No, okay, but for real, this is one of my favorite things. So since the inception of the cult, there's a particular kind of message that I get every once in a while, every few weeks, and it's from a random cult member, and they will say something to the effect of, I'm not an artist. I'm not really creative. I've never really made art, but I love creating things for the cult. I received a message from Mester Brown just like this the other day. I've 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 received messages from Chemical Imbalance saying this. I've received messages from so many other people saying this exact same thing. Just this idea that I never really created in my life, but now I am. Like Forgotten Runes has awoken this magic in me. The wizard has sort of opened up this whole new world. I'm rebuilding a world that was forgotten. I think Give a Hoot was saying something about like this the other day. And I just like, this is my favorite thing. And we've talked about this before, but it's this idea that even, quote, non-artists are creators and they can create amazing things. And it sort of reminded me recently of this artist that I've been just sort of infatuated with for the past 20 years. And he's this German artist named Joseph Beuys. He was a big conceptual artist in the 70s. And sort of his central ideas are really aligned with what the cult is doing, and I just want to quickly go over these. One of his ideas he speaks a lot about is that about the artist as a magician or a shaman. Um, this idea that art and creation is magic. We talk about that a lot. And Joseph Beuys, even he always wore a hat, which was a reference to this long tradition of witches and wizards always wearing hats. He's also famous for saying that everyone is an artist. And his meaning behind this aligns with what we always talk about, which is even if you don't have skill in drawing or painting or music or writing, any of these traditional methods of art production, everyone, still has creative potential. You do not need to express this latent creativity in traditional ways. You can say it in the most informal way possible. As long as you're speaking your truth in earnest, you will probably say something very unique, very original, and very compelling. And this kind of art, Beuys says, is what's relevant here. And finally, Beuys talks about when you have a society that's fully realized its creative potential, all these individuals who understand their creative potential, this is a new world. What he terms the social sculpture. He says that in order for us to dismantle the oppressive systems that we find ourselves in, we must build a social organism as a work of art. Every human being is an artist. And together we build a total artwork of future social order. Okay? And so what do we have here? We have an everyman artist who is using the magic of art to build a new world. Now, is that not Forgotten Runes? Is that not the collaborative legendarium? And so, this is my favorite thing about Forgotten Runes. It's that somehow we've awoken this magical impulse in everybody, and not just the established artists. So that's, I think, my favorite thing about the cult. I love when people message me and tell me, like, just like Mester Brown did this week, about how I'm not really a creative person. I've never really created, but there's something about the cult that has awoken this creative impulse in me, and now I just create constantly. That's my favorite thing.
That's my favorite thing too. I think that it's really easy to get in your head around what is art and what your abilities are, and to have just such a narrow perspective on what it means to create something new, and the level of skill that is required. I don't want to say skill, I want to say proficiency, right? The level of proficiency that's required to make something meaningful, when in fact a lot of kind of, I think that a lot of people do this in many areas, right? Musicians do this. You get obsessed with being a technician, right? Yep. And so you want to be able to draw in this very technical way, but then by the time you've kind of practiced the technique, you don't really find you have anything to say, right? And I think musicians do this too. They buy all the equipment and the effects pedals and the amps and whatever, and it's like Jimi Hendrix just played on a Fender Stratocaster, and it's just just buy the bread and butter guitar and play what you want to make, and it's those things that well, if you have something to say, it can be meaningful, even if you have a voice like Bob Dylan.
So true. I wish we had more time, but I think I want to give a final word to Belial. Belial, do you have any final Wizmas wishes you'd wish to impart us with?
I totally agree. I totally agree.
agree.
I think I was actually thinking the same thing. I didn't want to say it, but
Yeah,
I think Bilal has just a way with
he really
words.
does. He really does.
So fantastic.
All right. Well, I'm gonna sign us out. Dotta, you were talking about musicians. Let me sign us out with one of the greatest musicians in history, Linus. Take it away, Linus.
Happy birthday, Bear.
Bear, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Merry Wizmas to all. And this has been Elf, Dotta, Manatsuki, Bearsnake, the team at Bisonic, Tad Major, Zaylasoul, Young, Jitsi, and the terrifying, horrifying, scary warrior, Belial, Wrecker of Wizards.
See you tonight. See you tonight, Belial.
Street.
G in, everybody.